Hey, I'm Grant, and welcome back to Dead Rising Shop to Drop. Let's get this going. So, it's going to be pretty easy. I think there's going to introduce a new boss, or mini-boss, like Joe the Zombie. But I'm not quite sure. I know he comes in at some point with the entrance plaza, but unless they're going to do all three of those back-to-back, I don't think he'll show up. He's the same thing as Joe, where you don't have to fight him. He's just really there to be annoying, and he's definitely more annoying than Joe because of how fast he is. I think after this recording, I'm going to start messing with the different times of these episodes because I was looking at the stats for this the other day, and I had originally planned out about 35 episodes. That was my estimation, because that's what it originally took for my Dead Rising 1 Master Run. And that put me at the end of overtime mode, so I thought, hey, maybe something similar, maybe less, maybe more. Either way, it works. I was looking at that like, well, I need to really accelerate my process on making these because 35 videos on my current pace, that means 35 weeks. 35 weeks is well over half of a year. I think that's 2/3 of a year, or 3/5 rather. And that doesn't work, because one thing I have noticed personally with my YouTube channel is you only really grow when you start putting out new series. So side note here, my arrow is a question mark. I guess I just have to search. But I think I know where this guy is, because I've played this game before. So if you ever watch stuff like Game Grumps, one thing that always annoys me is they don't finish their games. And that's something that's I always disliked, because if it's something that I'm really invested in, I appreciate having a high quality playthrough, something who actually knows a lot, can give a lot of background. And then for it to just cut out, it's like, well, I'm not gonna go watch the entire thing over with someone else, but they're never gonna return to this either. Oh, I know exactly who this is. This is the dude in the closet who's stuck behind all those boxes. I can't really blame those guys for not wanting to finish series, because you only really expand when you start making new series. So if you had a series like the one I was watching was Earthbound, where that was really great, but I never really wanted to get around to playing it, but I really wanted to see it. Well, it would take them forever to make that whole series. And I think I kind of had that same issue. So I need to accelerate it. So what I'm going to do is, I'm hoping to get a lot of filming done tonight, even though I'll admit I'll be kind of slow about it. And then I'm going to just kind of do this big long binge this Saturday, where I just try to get as much content as possible. And I'll admit I'm a little concerned about that, because the last time I did that was with the D&D sessions, where we did about 15 sessions ahead of where I was done editing, and those take about 10 to 20 hours each to edit. So I think just the idea of having so much content to go through just made it so like, I'll do a little bit, I'm not really gonna or I'm not gonna load it up tonight, maybe I'll just do something else that needs to be done in my life, that kind of thing. I think it just really stalled out after that. And the only reason I also say that is I have a bunch of stuff I kind of want to get to, and I feel I'm just going to lose passion for it if I have to keep doing this over and over and over. And then it's like, well, yeah, I want to do that, but the passion for that particular project's been lost. And maybe I think of other things that are slightly cooler or easier to do or just come across better. I've gotten way better at editing, which was kind of the point of the series, is that much like the original Dead Rising 1 Master Run, I had to do these series just because it's raw practice. It takes a lot of time to edit and a lot more time just to get good at that kind of thing. The only way to do that is just kind of pick a project that has, in my opinion, set days where it ends. I think that's kind of important, so it's not just, oh, I'm going to do this till I'm bored, because then I'll probably end up quitting earlier than I should. But at the same time, it's not going to go on forever. There is a set point, plus I can section it off that, oh, I know I can do one episode a week or something. When I started doing this, I didn't know if I wanted to do every single side mission in this game, because honestly, looking back at the footage now, it has added a ton of time onto this recording. But there's always that chance of these weird little side bits that are different, that aren't necessarily in every mission, like me having to push that box. I mean, yeah, maybe if I wandered over to that store and checked, it would still be there and I could use it. But more likely than not, I would only get that little interaction if I specifically came and did this mission. This is meant to be like the original Master Run in some case, where it's meant to show off the whole game. It's not meant to be me being good at it like the original one was, but I do think there's value in actually going through all these. But that's the other reason why it takes so long, is if I literally only did the main mission, holy shit, they let you blow Joe's head off. That's actually really graphic, because I've never seen that model do that. It just disappears. That was awesome. I don't know if you guys can tell, but one of the things I try to do is I try to cut as much as possible from a video, just because I know sometimes I can trail off because it's not always the perfect environment to film in, or just honestly sometimes this game takes a long time. Like, I cut out every single loading screen, and it always amazes me every time I do it how long every single transition is. Like, for the fact that every time I pull up a menu, it's actually pretty substantial. So I cut all that out just because it's dead time, and I definitely got a lot of good advice early on that you need to earn the ability to do long videos. You gotta be interesting. I can't sit here and do a 1 hour unedited Let's Play. I'm not that interesting of a guy. That will hopefully come with time. So any of that small stuff I can cut out is really important. And one of those things I like to mention is I cut the dialogues. I don't take out any of the content, but I cut them down to be way more responsive. There's this delay in the inventory where I can't actually move the cursor, I guess you'd call it, until it's done. So if I can just edit out that, let's say it's a second, and then you pull up the menu, let's say every like 5 times a session, and then you close it too, you quickly start getting like 10, 20 seconds off each video, couple that with other stuff, and I really think it adds up. One thing I was thinking about is doing longer episodes, so if you're watching this, please let me know what you prefer. I try to shoot for about 20 minutes, and then I try to edit it down as much as possible. On one hand, if I can edit it down, I think that's better because that has more value to it. Like, hey, if this was 20 minutes long and I can get it down to 10 minutes, that means that, oh, I'm glad I took all that waste out. So if I should go for 30 minutes and edit it down to 20, that's what you prefer, let me know. But it's this weird catch-22 because I think obviously the people who watch it obviously do always want longer videos. That's what I would want. It's the people who don't watch it because it's so long, it's a commitment. That's the people you'll never hear from. So, one thing, if you listen to me talk, the biggest thing I'm trying to fix is I say so way too much. It's like my big transition word that I use for everything. Like, so. And that's me going on to the next topic. And I'm really trying to break that, but I constantly catch myself. The reason for that is because I've recently been doing closed captioning for all my videos and having to write out what I say. Like, particularly the issue is, when I do these, I essentially explain a lot. As part of that, I guess I just do a ton of run-on sentences because I'm explaining and I'm distracted. I'll essentially say something along the lines of, you need to do X, and the reason for that is Y, and that's important because of Z, and that sentence can go on for a long time. One of the reasons I originally tried to get into the whole YouTubing thing is part of it I just saw as a self-improvement thing. Like, there's something to be said for just being on camera, recording yourself and having to listen to it over and over, where you're just like, man, I don't really like how I look in that shirt. Or, hey, I really need to stop saying so to start all my sentences. And I think that's important. And that's why I bring that up, is this is something I want to make a goal going forward. I don't want to be 1,000 videos in and I still have these giant run-on sentences where I talk about really inane shit. So, damn it. I try to make it a point not to do that. So, goddamn. See, it's hard. It's really hard. But call me out if I do that. I'm guessing that I probably say the word so minimum 30 times an episode just because shit's hard not to. One thing I'd love to learn is the ability to commentate. Like, there must be some stuff out there that I'd love to look into about how, like, how do you, if you're a sports commentator, how do you have that running commentary while still forming full ideas? I think one thing that's very tough with a solo person doing this is I don't have anyone to bounce ideas off of. More specifically, I don't have time to rest. So that's why you see these run sentences, is because I'm essentially having to pause in the middle of my ideas. Then I just trail off. Whereas what you can do with the two-person stuff, or bigger, and you can see that on my channel if you go look back. I don't know if I still have this out, but when I did this with my sister Ellie, it was very easy where she's playing, I can do the commentary and focus on that. Or if I need to take a sip of water, I can just pass the conversation off. And that's something that helps immensely. I think it's something that I can fix eventually, just with a lot of very conscious practice. But in doing several filming sessions at once, I don't have the feedback element. I need to essentially film one, edit it all, and then the next one try to improve that. Because that's when you actually get the improvements. This is a great scoop. It's something that I never fell prey to, but I know a lot of players did, accidentally giving him the gun. I think it would have been a lot better if they had Simone before this. Just because Simone, I think it would work better if they had the case where you need to give me a gun, and then you think this is like that, and then you're like, oh no, I did the bad thing, instead of potentially thinking you give it to him and not just accidentally getting the right answer anyway. It's a thing in this game, I can't carry people. Which means I can't carry him. I'm pretty confident right now at saying that's always the case. If there's no zombies, in theory, they should just come for me. Yeah, he's actually pretty fast. I don't know if they still have the AI like they did in the original one, where she wouldn't come unless you have him. Very nice. It's a very nice people, actually. I'll have to go check out Cletus to see if he has any more of these chainsaw books, or has a chainsaw book. I don't quite know how they work, and I'm surprised I don't have them unlocked yet. but I'm guessing if I go back after the next case mission, they'll probably... that's what they're tied to. God damn it. See, they do shit like this, where this is blocked, I can't get over, I have to go literally around the entire plaza. And it's all just because of, what, a couple ropes? God damn it. I'm probably not going to take the shortcut. I still don't fully understand how it works. When Otis was talking to me about it earlier before I started filming, he said, oh, talk to Greg before you leave. I think he specifically said that, make sure you talk to him. But when I talked to Greg, he's just, you want to go to Cletus's gun shop? I assumed, oh, if I hit no, he'll start talking about the other thing. Not true. So I don't actually know how to do that. There goes my one in. Okay, that's it. If I hold down the gun trigger and then I re-hit the button on the D-pad that pulls out the gun, that reloads the gun. I'll demonstrate. Okay, that's vital. This takes me back to when I did my Dead Rising No Zombie run, where it was the first time in a long time where I was actively learning stuff on the fly. I didn't get told it by someone. I didn't know it from years past. I just actually like, whoa, this is new, this is fresh. I feel so much more powerful now. And it felt like such a great dynamic. This is another secret I try to do when I actually film these things. It's very important that I don't always reference stuff that's going on in the game. One, that's a good rule anyway, because it is like the cancer of someone who does stuff like this, like these Let's Plays or any kind of, I don't know, reaction video, is just reacting, like saying, oh, this is what's happening, this is what happened. Essentially narrating. That's very easy to get into, and it's a bad habit. That's the first reason I don't want to do that. Two is, it should be pretty obvious by now, I usually like to shove my vocals around when I'm playing, just because like right now, I won't know until I actually edit this, but there'll be portions of the game where not a lot of interesting things happen, or maybe I essentially have 15 minutes of good commentary for a 20-minute video. Well, if nothing interesting happens while I'm in the park, why not just cut that out and put that commentary over something a little bit more important? So the more I reference stuff that's going on, like, oh, this poodle just jumped at me, or, wow, what's that? Like, see, that's the worst, is if I say something that needs what's ever on the screen, because then I either have to cut that entirely, which isn't great, because if it's something I'm trying to explain, like, oh, look at this thing in this Cletus fight, I can't cut that because I'm probably going to be talking about it for the next 5 minutes. In particular, one thing that I'm also trying to improve greatly on when I edit these videos, because first and foremost, this is a practice for me on editing. Second of all, it's to showcase this really weird bastard child of a game, and just also develop me as, I guess you could say, an entertainer. Not that I would consider myself that, but I have this issue where, okay, I want to be able to cut and shorten down the video, but I want to include my commentary, but I also want to feature the game. So I ended with this issue where, what's something I can cut that doesn't have interesting speech, interesting gameplay, and isn't just important to include for editing's sake? Well, it's very hard to get all three of those things working together at once. So overall, this run is not going as well as I was hoping, but that usually is the case when I come back to it after not having played this for a little while, where I really can't do anything about it. Oh well, let's get him in and we'll move on to the next thing. I'm okay taking bad missions, the point is just to experience it. I guess maybe there's a chance that if you saved her, she could have given you something that's unique to this game, but I don't think it is. It's mainly going to be stuff you actually interact with in the game. Hey, Editing Grant here. You may have noticed that when I turned in my last mission with the dude from In the Closet, that I actually got a weird PP bonus of Secret Mission Unlocked. Turns out, I looked at this afterwards, and you can unlock secret missions that aren't actually part of the main game. They are actually cut missions from the original game that you unlock by getting S ranks on certain missions, like Out of Control, the Adam the Clown scoop. In the spirit of keeping this fairly spoiler-free, I didn't actually want to go and look into what all the requirements for unlocking these are. But I will go into this a little bit later once I get towards the end of the game, because one of the things that makes Dead Rising Chop to Your Drop the most different from the original is this weird kind of metagame that comes about it, where you're meant to replay specific missions or beat it in certain styles, and something I really enjoy about this game. If you look into it, they actually have a bunch of pseudo-achievements to say, beat the game in under 10 hours, or beat the game without letting any survivor get away, which is a little bit different when you can take them on one by one. It's not a time issue, it's just how slowly and methodically can you get through it. So thanks for watching, guys. I have really been experimenting a lot with this series to kind of understand where I want to take this in the future, so if you could please take a moment to kind of say what you think, what you've liked, what parts have been dry, what's been exciting, and how you think I can kind of take this to the next level. That would really help me out, and I hope to see you guys next Wednesday.